Very good morning to you all. Very good morning. What a pleasure it is to be with you. Massive pleasure to be with you. This is, I think, my 7th or 8th time speaking here. Some of you know I take a while to get going. And so I am going to be as predictable as I can be. First of all, we gave appreciation and credit to several people here. I want to also mention Farina and Barry, who are looking after the children right now. I want to mention the amazing musicians here as well, just so everyone's getting included. I wish I could show people the future. Oh, hello, my name's Joshua. Sorry, I just feel like family here. So, you can't show people the future. And I think back to a little bit over 3 years ago when I was speaking with some of you about the transition that was taking place. And it was an uncomfortable transition back then, a lot changing. An existential, what's the word that was being used? Crisis, yes, there we go. That's not stayed in trauma, has it, Jerry? And now look. And in fact, don't look, feel. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell magic is happening. And it's just a pleasure to see that, but you can't show people that ahead of time. You can have faith, you can have trust, but if only you could just step into a DeLorean. Well, I could go at a lot of places with that sentence, but it is a pleasure to be here. I'm going to just put my notes over here. I haven't driven to Cleveland for a while, and I forget about all the medical centers that you see on 271. You think, oh, they're just lots of ill people. Are you okay? So you've got like panic buttons under the chairs in Cleveland. And, I came a few years ago around this time of year, and I was going somewhere afterwards. And when I arrived, it was freezing. There was snow everywhere, and so I'm like, I'm in Cleveland. Drove on, came back. Like 4 days later, it was 90 degrees, and everyone's eating ice cream. I'm like, what? Anyway, I could go on and on and on. Pleasure to speak with you here today. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? Is the words that came to me to share today. Those words are a misappropriation from Rabbi Hillel, who said something more along the lines of, if I am not for me, then who? And if I am only for myself, then what the cost? Is what he said. I like to take sentences like "if not now, then when," and so on, because they inspire a degree of self-reflection just by their very essence, without actually having said anything of any use. So, but I think I want to get deeper and further into this. We use the word existential right now. I'll go there again. It's funny times we live in right now. Great opportunity, as David just said. Great opportunity to step up. And stepping up isn't an easy thing. Stepping up requires all of oneself. And all of oneself requires confronting elements of ourselves we'd rather avoid. Okay? That is the aim of the game several times a day these days, it seems. Bless you. And I think unity is as relevant as ever. It's just that now the rubber meets the road. And we don't have as much opportunity to avoid and pretend things aren't happening like we used to. So, if not now, then when? If not you, then who? We're looking, of course, at appreciation. We're looking at urgency. Urgency to do what is ours to do. To know what is ours to do and to do something about it. It's really that simple. So I want to take us into the who of that. I want to take us to the when of that. And then after that, I'm going to completely contradict everything I've said, okay? But first, I want to start with a story that some of you are probably familiar with. It's a story I love. Do you want to take me down just a bit? Thank you. Ready? A story I do enjoy. It's a true story. A gentleman called Robert Aubrey, I think his name was, and this was in the 1800s when the gold rush was happening. And he heard about it, he came out and he actually found gold. And then he went back to his hometown, which was Maine, I think it was, and recruited a bunch of men, bought up a load of equipment, went back, found where he was, started digging, found gold. Going well so far, until they ran out of gold and couldn't find it. So they did what any of us would do and just kept digging and digging and digging, right? Couldn't find any gold. Did what any of us would do and kept digging, but didn't find any. And then there came a point where you just have to accept where things are. He sold his equipment to a local farmer, bless you, paid everyone off, and went home and actually had a reasonably successful few years following that in working in insurance. The farmer, however, being a local guy, got a local surveyor who knew the geological conditions were slightly different, did another survey, started digging, and found gold 3 feet away from where Robert Aubrey had finished digging. The message in this little story, if you haven't heard it before, is don't stop now because you might be 3 feet away from gold. You might be so close, right? And ever since then, middle management people have used that to bully people in lower management. Don't stop now. It's Friday afternoon. There is more to the story, and I will come back to it. So let's just start with the why, okay? If we're talking about if not now, then when, if not you, then who, why are we talking about it? What's the problem? What's the problem? What are we looking to resolve? Well, first of all, if you are not acting, if there's inaction, you're not starting, then there's an issue with self-worth, self-value, and even seeing that, right? There's an issue with comparison. We're now, couldn't have maybe said this 15 years ago, but now we are bombarded by the internet and social media and who we think we are supposed to be and what we're supposed to be like. We're bombarded by it. A comparison of that. Is it true? No. Do we know that inside us? Deep? Yes, but not deep enough. Not deep enough. We have to confront our fear of failure. We have to confront despondency, complacency, indifference. You know, when you don't actually care, that's a greater problem. That's a greater problem. And we're so busy and distracted. You know, if we look at the when here, I don't think we as humans understand time fully. Because we come here and we're all spiritual and we say, well, time is an illusion. Time does not exist. It's like, time does exist because you're all stuck here for like an hour. And that's very real. And time is relative, of course it is. There's a game I like to play in my head where I pick the day that I will leave this earth. And I've chosen that day to be August the 4th, 2061. My reason for that is that's the day that Halley's Comet comes next. And if you're from where I'm from, the Halley's Comet is part of history. It's in the Bayer Tapestry and up there in the sky and so on. I've seen it once before when I was 19, I think. August the 4th, 2061 gives me 13,267 days from this moment. It gives me 327,045 hours. And so I'm wrong, obviously. But there's a number, and it's not going up. It's going down. And that gives me a cognizance of that. However, if I was to sit down and start waiting for 327,000 hours to go up, Vivian's going to kick me out at some point. Or say, you can charge your rent, you're going to stay here. And so it's a long time, and it's a short time. And actually navigating the polarity of that is an interesting experience for a human. It's a long time, but it's a short time. But it's a long time, but it's a short time. And however much time it is, it's not going up. It's going down. And we have a conflict with that. A very dear friend of mine, she's okay now. I just want to be clear about that. She's okay. She had a TIA back in January, late January. And she's made an incredible recovery. And there was a moment there that we didn't know. We didn't know. And time gets awfully short. And you think about the times when I could have reached out, but I didn't. You start looking at it like that. Gospel of Thomas, verse 70, says, if I bring through that which is mine, it will save me. If I do not bring through that which is mine, it will destroy me. There's not much that's so black and white in the Bible as that. This or that. Save or destroy. Now, the metaphysics behind that is we have an energy given to us in any given moment, big or small, large or small. In any given moment, if that stays in us, if we don't do something with that, it actually starts to affect the body. I'm seeing several of you tomorrow to work on your vibrational body for reasons like that. A lot of what goes on with the body is because of energy that should have moved out of us. And it's good and it's bad, by the way. Before I come up to speak, I get what I call nervous. And I'm not just nervous because I care. I'm nervous because there's a supply of energy being given to me to come through to you guys. And that interfaces with my nervous system, and I feel nervous. I'll stop doing this. It's annoying, isn't it? I won't do that again. Sorry. Oh, sorry. No. But it's important, because if I just looked at being nervous, I would not understand what it's mine to do in the moment. I'd think I wasn't able or capable. You would think you were not able or capable. It might stop you from acting in the moment, but if not now, then when? Because the available energy is given to you in the moment. And you're needed now. It's needed now. You know, it's not like there's more going on in the world than there ever was. But we know about it more than we ever did. And our minds, and I don't think it's just a male thing, by the way, our minds are driven and given to us to reconcile. Dare I say fix. But as soon as you hear a problem, the mind goes to, how can we resolve this? Right? And here we are inundated. Now beautiful words spoken, Connie. An abundance in the presence of it insufficiency, I think. It just stuck with me. I didn't want that to get forgotten. But we have an abundance of input coming in. An overabundance, dare I say it. We need to think about how we filter that, what we pay attention to and what we don't. Because it distracts us. If not now, then when? To think about what's distracting you. And so then there's a you. If not you, then who? Well, that's interesting, because who are you? Who are you? Who are any of us? Matt Kahn, the author, I'm a big fan of his. And he says, do not ask yourself, instead of asking yourself, what am I thinking? Ask yourself, who is it in me that thinks? Instead of asking, what do I see? Ask, who is it in me that sees? Instead of asking, what is it I hear? Ask, who is it in me that hears? And that way, we take ourselves from a walking lump of carbon to an essence and to a spirit. And if we're a spirit, then we are similar enough to each other. And if we are similar enough to each other, then we're ignoring differences and division and separation. We are in a place called, unity, after all. There's something I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of when I die. It's the only thing I'm afraid of. When I die, I'm going to meet all the people that I didn't show up for. I'll be standing like this, and it'll be like... And I believe that's waiting for all of us. And I'm interested in that number being as small as possible. And by the way, we've all got that crowd waiting for us. And because make no bones about this, our essence that I'm talking about, the who, that you are, that, okay, that expressed through the body and any of us is a unique filter. The body and you, who you currently are, the person I'm going to be able to talk to, that is a unique filter. And the people that are to receive from you and whatever it is you do and whatever it is you do it can only receive that from you. And it's a fascinating thing about life because Jerry could play me a song on a stereo and I'd be like, yeah. Elaine might play me the same song and I'd be like, oh, now I hear it. Because she was to play it, no offense. But that is the unspoken and maybe inexplicable value of who you are. And it's not about standing on a stage, and I'm very privileged to get to do this, okay? But it's not about this, because we're on a stage all the time, in the bus, in Starbucks, or wherever it is you go. Always. And you've got your people. Okay? Marianne Williamson has that wonderful poem She says, do I want to talk about this right now? No, I don't. I'm going to go on. What inhibits you from being you, right? Think about fear of authenticity. We're afraid of expressing our truth, wherever and whenever. We think about why that is. And I felt into that. I thought, well, if one is not doing that, it's maybe we're afraid of being attacked in some way, or maybe we're afraid of imposter syndrome, and therefore being attacked. I'm going to share with you something I am, that does come up for me at the moment. I'm Jewish. I have family in Israel. I've never been afraid of saying that. I've never been uncomfortable about saying that, but I am uncomfortable now. I'm not used to Israel being a source of pain. Yes, I'm not used to that. And I think to myself, do I just shut up? Do I say nothing? I don't know. I truly don't know. But I'm saying this. I want to bring some of me into this, because otherwise I'm just saying words at you. Right? And that is an element of me where, I don't know if I should say that. And I don't know what's true or right to do there. Just saying. Getting back to the point, though, if who we are as a being, and in essence, who is stealing that from you? Who is taking that from you? Who is it that you diminish around and shrink around? Who is it you avoid being around? Whose calls do you not want to take? Why? Because they start sucking it from you. Okay? Who are those people? Because it's important to know who those people are, because they are the ones, inadvertently, by the way, no one means to do it, they are the ones who will slow you down and distract you. I believe the word responsibility was used by David when we started, okay? And we only have our own responsibility. If we fail or don't get round to doing what we're supposed to do by the time we leave this body, it's only on us. It's not on our siblings, it's not on our parents, it's not on our neighbors. It's only on us. Because delay is not good for the human body. What happens when you delay, okay? Energetically, vibrationally, there is an accumulation upon you. If you think about the incredible lottery you've won to be actually alive, whether you might agree with me or not, and what it takes to animate a human body, to keep this, to be able to do that. The miracle, okay? To do that. The vitality that's surging through a body making this happen. What happens if you slow that down? What happens if you block anything? You block a pipe. It will damage the pipe, right? It will damage the pipe. And we've got this vitality surging through us in any given moment, all these electrical connections happening. If you stop that after a point, it will hurt the body. It's not what you're wired for. It's not what you're made for. You're made to bring into form, to be a channel, to be an instrument of peace, okay? And you do better if you do that. I'm going to be 46 years old this year. I don't look 46 years old. Earlier on I did. And so, let's talk about taking action then. Let's talk about how to take action. How to do what is yours to do when you're to do it. We're in different times now. You know things which someone speaking in front of you several years ago, if I was talking to you several years ago, you wouldn't have known some of these things. They weren't as commonplace. And now it is all commonplace. Right? Information is out there. It's free. It's easy. You know these things. It's actually not about information anymore. I don't think we're in the information age anymore. We're in the age of action and connection. Only how you look at it. And so, it's not just about thinking positive. It's not just about behavior only. It's about behavior, if I dare say so, the metaphysics of what and who we are. I didn't prepare for this morning only by making notes and writing a talk. I prepared for this morning by clearing what's around me. Because I know you know all this shit. I know you do. You're not here for information. You're here for connection, to be reminded of what you already know, to be reminded of who you already are, and to do something about it. That will be my only profanity of the day. Will it? Can I commit to that? Maybe. No. Anyway, let me get back on track. Behavior and the metaphysics, they go together. The metaphysics supports the behavior, and the behavior is what we interface with each other with. Okay? Both is tremendously important. All I want to say about behavior, though, is to ask you a rhetorical question, which is, do you need adversity to do something? Do you need that to be your motivating factor? I know when I say it, you go, no. But we do, alarmingly. What it takes to not need adversity is a lot of forethought. And I don't know what your flavor of meditation is, and you're not hearing me say go meditate. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Maybe more saying get clear with what you want. Things have a funny way of working themselves out after that. Matthew 25:14, or 36:14, says it twice. Do not worry about tomorrow. But tomorrow will take care of itself. Tomorrow has a funny way of taking care of itself when you take care of today. And so, I don't need to think about 327,000 hours time. I need to think about right now, and who I'm with and why I'm with you. Looking at the metaphysics of that, though, think about rising above the noise, okay? The heart space that David was talking about is an elevation of that. If I speak in dimensional frames of reference, the noise is fourth dimensional. Above that, so to speak, is fifth dimensional. We go there all the time, all the time. This notion of the fifth dimension, it belongs to us all. We're in and out, shake it all about, all the time. It's not a special place. Some of you might be interested in the toroidal field of the human body as well. Ideally, it should go from inside to outside. In the Eastern traditions, they talk about the hungry ghost, where we're taking from the outside. Okay? When you're not happy, I look at my kids sometimes and they bother each other, tap on each other just to get a reaction. And the reaction is energy. They're looking to get energy elsewhere. I think about holding a space. I'm going to take us into meditation in a minute. Think about holding a space. Whereas we do that through our broadcasting anyway, holding a space is creating a vibrational frame which we can all be in, which makes it easier for you to be yourselves or do whatever activity you're supposed to be doing in. That's what holding a space is. The follow-through. When you get guidance, you get a good idea, so it doesn't have to be guidance. Sorry. When you get a good idea, you do something about it, you understand you're paving the way ahead of you with available and supportive energy. That's what happens. That's what happens. But in the mind, you've got doubt. Oh, I can't do that because there isn't time, there isn't money, or I can't, or I'm not like them. Okay? There's an expression, see if I can remember it. We often meet our destiny on the road we take to avoid it. That's a line from Kung Fu Panda, by the way. Those of you that are interested in the hero's journey in Joseph Campbell, I would go to The Refusal of the Call, if you've heard of that. If you haven't heard of Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, you have, because you'll remember Star Wars and Luke Skywalker saying he has to do chores. You remember Harry Potter saying, I'm not a wizard, I'm just Harry. You remember Peter Parker saying, I have homework. And if you don't know those, then you know the Old Testament. And Abraham, the father of fathers, having self-doubt in comparison of himself to the great Melchizedek, and taking on the mantle from him. We know about Samson, offered to save his people numerous times, but he was a bit more invested in getting drunk and chasing women and getting into fights. And we've all been that age. And you know Jonah, who in a moment of Homer Simpson-esque behavior thought he could run away from God by getting on a boat. All of these people received the call at the end of the day, ultimately, and did what was theirs to do. I'm going to finish the 3 feet from gold story. When the news reached Maine that someone had dug gold and found it 3 feet away from where Robert Aubrey had stopped digging, he went round the country, Robert Aubrey went round the country with inspirational speaking about how you shouldn't stop because you could be 3 feet from gold. And the point of finishing that story now is we're not forgotten about. I actually think you should listen to the voice of self-doubt. The trouble is we're also invested in avoiding it and trying to shut it out. But if you see the voice of self-doubt like a hurting child in pain, and you actually listen to it, it has a funny way of then listening to you. Bring this to conclusion then. Action comes from connection. Connection is your way. Connection is the way. Now, if there are 80 of us in here, whatever at the moment, there's 80 different ways of getting connected. It is very important you find yours, as David says. If there is a challenge of the present moment, it's yours. It's yours and belongs to you and won't be offered to someone else until you say no enough times. But the other side of challenge is, of course, opportunity. And it's important to know that. So please, everyone, relax. Stop waiting. Those two go together. You are needed. You are needed despite what you think of yourself. You are needed despite what you believe about yourself. And you are worthy and worth it despite what you feel. I'd like to take us into meditation now. In the years that I've been coming here, we'd have meditation, and then we'd have a few minutes of silence, a couple of minutes of silence afterwards. I'd like to honor that tradition. I welcome you to close your eyes. And please, if you take a nice deep breath, relax your stomach. To meditate does not make us special, but perhaps just see it as a little gift to yourself. If these are the only couple of minutes that this week you give to yourself, then wonderful. Wonderful. Because how deeply you deserve not just the fellowship of today, but some time just to sit and be. We are known as children of God. Beautiful, sweet, curious children. When you have the blessing to see a child, as we will in a few minutes, does not your heart go out to them? Do you not wish with every fiber to see a smile on their face? Do you not want a beautiful future for them? And they, of course, are us. And as you breathe now, which is all that you need to do, the petals upon the beautiful flower that you are open to the sun, as it were. Breathe into the whole body. For do you not want love and happiness for everyone that you know? Deep in your core you do. And it is beyond this. You want happiness for everyone there is. Everyone. 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 The gift of your body, the gift of your knowledge and wisdom, the gift of your patience and compassion. All of this is a beautiful tapestry offered to the world. Breathe. And as we send our intention and vibrational capacity forwards into the week that you are about to walk through, we ask that we meet it and it meets us. Breathe. We ask to be available for ourselves. Patient with ourselves. Generous to ourselves. In this moment, see yourself as it were like a fountain, emanating beauty, goodness, and limitless from you. To all those around you. Bring a smile to your beautiful face, please. Smile as you welcome wonders to come to you, and they will. Let us be with these thoughts and these feelings as we have a minute or two of silence before we welcome back our musicians. Let us simply keep our eyes closed for now. Nice deep breaths to the whole body. You might like to just gently rub your cheeks and your forehead.